Here I am walking into CEX to buy the most expensive loose cartridge I've ever bought. But what game do you think it's going to be?
Game Pickup! Video Game Transfer! Word Tricks! Live Game Hunting!
Hey again folks, and welcome back to another live game hunting episode, and I am super excited today as I have checked my CEX app, and one of my local CEX stores within driving distance has one of my most wanted games of all time. And if this game passed the quality checks and is in a good condition as I hope it is, this is going to be the most expensive loose game cartridge I've ever bought for the collection. I'm super excited to get out on a hunt, but I just want to remind you folks, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content for the week, and I really want you folks along for the ride. Now, fingers crossed this game is in good condition. I need this one for the collection. The cartridge in question is in the CEX store in Thetford, but we are going to be hitting up those charity shops before heading there to see if we can pick up a couple of games to trade in for some credit to put towards that really expensive loose cartridge. Now, there were some really good titles here, but unfortunately all of these games were £3 each, so there wasn't really any meat left on the bone to trade these into CEX for credit, which is a real shame. I think a lot of charity shops do themselves out of business by charging too much for their games. Being a massive wrestling fan, I was very tempted to pick up this Child's NXT title belt, but I don't think it'll quite fit around my waist. I was tempted to wear it over my shoulder. I did decide to pass. I may have regretted not picking this up. I probably could have sold this on eBay for a couple of extra quid, but I did leave it behind. Another day and another Wii bundle, once again without any of the remotes, just the console and the wires. 15 quid isn't too bad, but the thing is there's just so many cheap Wiis at the moment, and you need to know what you're looking for, so you kind of want to look for these white ones which have the GameCube controller ports on the top. This is the most desirable of the Wii consoles. Here's something you don't see every day in a charity shop, a sealed Xbox 360 game. Let me know in the comments down below, would you have picked this up for £8? I kind of wonder if it would have been worth it to sit on it for a few years, but it wasn't the most desirable of titles. This little Disney Infinity bundle was quite interesting, but I think at 20 quid it was a little bit overpriced. But I tell you what, I wonder, could I pull these off? These Super Mario leggings were incredible. On to the next charity shop, and quite a few games in here. These were all £2 each. So I'm kind of looking through here to see if there's anything we can take in CEX to trade towards our loose cartridge. Now, GTA 5 a couple of months ago would have been an absolute no-brainer. Unfortunately, the value of that has dropped exponentially. Metro Last Light, I would have thought would have traded in for a bit more. I already have it in the collection. If not, I would have picked this one up, as it is an absolutely fantastic series. I really enjoy the Metro games. If you're a fan of Fallout and want something a little bit more hardcore, I would definitely recommend it. Looking through, there's a couple of PC games, some FIFAs, and this random Connect game, nothing left. I did have a good look through all of these DVDs, as these were super cheap. I once again keep finding different versions of the Resident Evil series. I've never seen this Resident Evil trilogy box set before, but the DVDs were £5 for £1, but sadly that was the only one I could find it was either worth adding to the collection or flipping. First pickup of the day, and I cannot believe I don't have this in my PlayStation 2 collection. Mercenaries is one of my favourite sandbox games of all time. To be fair, I did mainly play this on the OG Xbox back in the day after playing a demo on the front of a magazine, but trust me, if you have never checked this game out, you should definitely check it out. It is incredible. It is like Grand Theft Auto with tanks, jets, helicopters. It's just absolute insanity. And for £2 rather than £32, no brainer. I'm a massive Star Wars fan, but here's something I've never seen before and looked really cool. 5-minute Star Wars stories. I don't know if these are like meant as kind of bedtime stories for people with kids or people with big kids like myself, but this looks really cool. It had some really nice artwork inside. I'm kind of trying to lean away from buying quite so many books at the minute just for storage, but this was a really cool book, and definitely I think somewhere down the line I'd like to add this to the collection. It was a couple of quid in here. I'm sure you can probably find it for about the same price online, but yeah, very cool item. This is one of those items where you have to think about the corners to space ratio. Obviously the game room can only hold a finite amount of stuff. This was super cool, but it would take quite a lot of room up. It was just an old school kind of joystick for the PC. Yeah, fully boxed and complete. I just love the kind of retro artwork on these. A very cool piece. £3 isn't too bad, but I did leave it behind. Now this is what I like to see, loads of Xbox 360 games, all £1 each, and time to dig through these. Modern Warfare 3 is trading in fairly well at the moment, so it's definitely worth picking that up, considering we're going to CEX in the next 5 minutes, even if we make a small profit on that one. This is one I've been meaning to pick up for a while, UFC Undisputed with Brock Lesnar on the cover there. It seems so long ago that Brock Lesnar absolutely decimated UFC, but still a nice little zeitgeist piece. This was weird. I really wanted to pick up this Tomb Raider Legends, but I think it was a reprinted cover in like a Wii case. It was really weird. I wasn't quite sure if it was genuine or fake, and yeah, for £1, I'll probably just leave that one behind. But the worst part came when I went to check the discs of these games. Look at the state of this. This looks like it's gone 10 rounds with Brock Lesnar. And even worse, when I opened up the Call of Duty game, what do we find? Call of Duty 4. Here we go then, folks. The target is acquired. Straight into CEX and straight to the most expensive loose cartridge I have ever purchased. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Look at this amazing item. There was so many good loose SNES games in here this time. You can see there's Zombies, Beavis and Butthead. Obviously Turtles in Time is just the absolute best of these. But there was loads of good quality retro in the CEX. They always seem to have really good stock, like Back to the Future for the Mega Drive, Predator for the Mega Drive. Just really good quality and good conditioned boxed and loose retro. I know a lot of people say you cannot get good retro in CEX these days, but look at the condition of these Mega Drive games. These are mint as the day they first went on the shelves. Some absolutely perfect examples of boxed, complete Mega Drive games. If I wasn't about to spend that much money on Turtles, I'd pick them all up. So there was some very good retro, but it's a shame the same couldn't be said for the Wii U and the GameCube section. Can you even call it a Wii U section if it has just 2 games? And sadly the game, they're not bad games, but the GameCube section was equally as bad. We've got a couple of decent titles here, such as Second Sight. It's a pretty good game, pretty cheap one to pick up. A couple of the Mario games, but other than that, there's not really a lot going on there. Some pretty heavy hitters in the Xbox section. I would not be buying that reprinted cover for Jet Set Future Radio. This was quite a cool one to see them when you don't see it in very good condition very often, and for £12 this is a really good price, because these cases normally get scratched up and look a bit rough. Other than that, we're mainly talking kind of shelf fillers here for the original Xbox, but I really think in the next coming years, the original Xbox is going to get really, really hard to collect for. I was tempted to pick this one up as I wasn't sure if I had it, but I checked my app and I did have it. But as you can see, some of these retro sections are getting smaller. But if you think that Wii U section was small, check out this PlayStation Vita section. One game. This one game, it does command quite a high price, but I don't think it needs its own section. Randomly, this is the CEX I bought my copy of Silent Hill from, and it also had Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, and Silent Hill The Room. These are PlayStation 2 games which are getting harder and harder to find, and finding all 3 of these in the same place at once is a really cool find. Somebody must have just traded in their entire Silent Hill collection. That's some money. Speaking of high-value PlayStation 2 games, this is one you do not see very often now. Manhunt 2. Whilst not as good as the original and the best Manhunt game, this game is getting pretty expensive, and yeah, this is definitely one to keep an eye out for if you can pick it up cheap. It's not the greatest game from Rockstar, but a cool one nonetheless. After securing the package of the most expensive loose cartridge game I have ever bought from CEX, we were off to Bury St Edmunds. This is the first time I've been hunting here, and it looked like a traditional British English market town. Look at that castle in the background, but it was time to hit the shops. In the very first charity shop, I found a PlayStation 3 game, which I've traded in a few times before into CEX. Sadly, the value of this one, like so many PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 games, has gone down. I'm sure this used to trade in for £4 to £5. It does now trade in for only £3. So it's up to you. If you think it's worth paying £2 for a game and trading to CEX for £1 profit, I do. I am that guy. I will trade in a game for £1 extra just because, I'm spending my money anyway. I was super excited when I walked into this charity shop, as I could see there was a stack of Xbox 360 games, but sadly that excitement dropped pretty soon as they were all very much overpriced. Most of these games would set you back £1. Some of these would even be 50p in CEX, and these were all like £2, £3, and it's okay if you're buying them to add to the collection, but then again, if you can get a game in CEX, why would you go into a charity shop and buy it for more? I visited the local game store in Bury St Edmunds, and this is something I've never seen, so let me know if you've seen this in a game store around the UK. Model railways and SCALE-X Trek stuff. I have never seen this in a game store before. I just think they're kind of branching out a little bit more rather than just the kind of video games and video game accessories. This is a PlayStation 4 game I have never heard of. I was very intrigued by it. American Fugitive. It was down from 20 quid to just 9 quid, and it did look super cool. It kind of looked like a kind of top-down survival kind of GTA clone. It looked really good. But I want to know from you folks watching, have you played this game? And if so, would you recommend it? It's definitely on my gaming radar. This is one of the reasons I don't shop in-game very often. Who is going to pay £35 for Deathloop? I don't even think this was brand new. That's an absolute overprice and something I just seem to see all the time in-game. As I said, games seem to be expanding what they sell, and I'm quite happy they're selling more board games and kind of role-playing games. Other than obviously the Hero Quest, we've got some really cool painted D&D miniatures here, and these are really good. At £10, I was very tempted because they look really cool on any gamer's table. I did have some interesting board games here. This one I've never seen before, Star Wars Talisman. Definitely cool, but I don't know if it was 40 quid cool. Speaking of Star Wars, I was really tempted by this Star Wars Mandalorian credit collection figure. These are super cool, but when I'm looking at action figures, I'm looking at the condition. Yes, this was only $5.99. There was definitely some bending of the cardboard. It is quite hard to see in this, and also this is a very big figure. I kind of didn't realise how big his packets were. This is another game that's been on my radar for a while, but I just think the price is going to keep dropping. They also had it for the same price on PlayStation 5, and that's probably the console I would grab it for. But let me know, has anyone played the reboot of Saints Row? I've kind of heard mixed things, but I was a massive fan of all of the Saints Row games that came before this, so I've kind of got fingers crossed this one's going to be good. Also, I think I've given into the hype, and this year will be the year I play Elden Ring. This has to be one of the weirdest items I've ever seen out game hunting. Gaming glasses. So supposedly they improve vision, help deliver sharper detail, increases contrast perception, and shifts colour spectrum for visual efficiency. Have we really got to the point when esports and gaming has got so serious that people will wear glasses like this? For £15, I was almost tempted to pick them up just for the absolute WTF of them. I was genuinely happily surprised by the amount of cool stuff in the cash converters stuff in Bury St Edmunds, including this GTA Vice City soundtrack box set. Yes, it wasn't a big sale and it was £15 off, but it was still 70 quid, but a very, very cool collector's piece. And I was actually surprised to see some boxed N64 games in there. I don't think £25 is too bad for a boxed copy of Shadow Man on the N64, and there were some good handhelds here, especially this deal on his PS Vita, which, if you ask me, is a really good pickup. I was generally surprised to see some really good deals in cash converters. So there we have it, the end of another day of game hunting. That Turtles game may have been £70, but this Super Mario Lego was £170. It is incredible to look at, but I don't know. I think I'd rather spend my money on loose cartridges to add to the collection. Now, let's take it back to the games room and check it out. Here we are then, back in the games room, and yes, there is a smile on my face. I finally managed to pick up one of my most wanted games for the SNES, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. And this week was definitely a case of quality over quantity with the pickups. We only have 2 pickups, the first of which is this absolute classic for the PlayStation 2, Mercenaries. Trust me, if you have never played this game, you owe it to yourself to check this one out. It's on the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, and it is like Grand Theft Auto with nuclear weapons. It is absolutely fantastic sandbox fun. But folks, this is what this episode is all about. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Not just the greatest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game of all time, one of the greatest 16-bit and SNES games of all time. And that's the thing, I would have loved to have got this game boxed and complete, but just being able to get the cartridge is enough for me for now. This is a game which is getting more and more expensive, but to me it is reassuringly expensive, as this is an absolute Goliath of the 16-bit gaming systems. I love this game so much, and this is one of the games I've been the most excited for in recent years to add to my collection. I want to know down in the comments below, what is the most expensive loose cartridge you have ever bought? I reckon we're going to get some crazy answers for this one, and I'm expecting some big numbers down in the comments section. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. See you all soon.